Okay, folks, so I'm gonna make galette. I'm gonna make a savory galette of tomatoes and a peach galette because my peaches are becoming too, almost overripe. They're very ripe. So I'm going to attempt to make a pâte brisée, double the normal size so that I can make two galette. And a galette is basically kind of like a pie. Use the same crust, the pâte brisée. And here's two flours, all purpose. And, but it's very rustic and you don't have to, put it in a tart tray or a pie plate. And I have enough to make several tomato galettes and possibly two peach galettes. But for this purpose, that's 3, that's 4. Oh shit, I was talking and I'm not sure how many cups I put in. So I think that's 4. I hope you were counting and you'll tell me if I made a mistake because there's time to fix it. So I'm gonna do 2 teaspoons of salt, coarse kosher salt, get rid of any impurities. 1, oh, that's a piece of pepper, I think. Okay. 1, 2. And even a savory tart's like to have, well, it's not a tart, let's just say it's a galette, which is a free-form pie. It's another way to think of it. Even the pie crust likes a little sugar. So we're gonna do 2 teaspoons of sugar. And we're just gonna blend that together. Meanwhile, I have chilled a whole pound of chilled butter. 1. And I need to cut it up into pieces, kind of like 1-inch chunks. And I need to put that on an ice bath. We'll keep the ice. The ice will keep the butter cold, and I'll use the ice water to make make it come together, keeping everything cold. That's the main point. So let's just put this on. Got a little, kitchen gets messy. Try not to be messy. Just gonna pulse this together. That's good enough. All right, step 2 in making the pâte brisée. We have our chilled butter in an ice bath, and we're gonna add it to the flour, salt, and let's take the top off here. We're just gonna add it. Let's take it out here. We're gonna add it. We're gonna keep the ice water. We're gonna knead it. And we're gonna pulse all this together. Possibly up to 10 times. But we want blueberry-sized chunks of butter. And they're nice and cold, and they should hold up. I'm using this, I'm doing a double batch because I think my processor, my new one, is kind of big enough to do that. All right, so let's just see how it goes. And it should happen around 10 pulses, but that's not. That's not a given. I've already done 4, and the butter's not down. 7, 8, 9, 10, You'll see a streak along the bottom. So that was more like 20. I stopped counting. Counting's not important. What's important is, oh look, pea-sized pieces of butter is important. Just like, well, it is a pie crust. Pâte brisée. Pâte means lots of things in French. It means dough. It means pasta. It means anything that you combine with water and flour. And brisé means broken. And we want it broken, that's what makes the flakes. Okay, so I want to add a tablespoon of white vinegar because this is a secret for keeping the flakiness. And then we're going to get a whole cup of the ice water and we're going to keep pulsing right away. Oops. And it should come together. You've seen me do this many times. If it doesn't, you add a little more. You can see it's coming together. At a certain point, that's enough. At a certain point, let's get the vinegar out of the way. That's going to help keep the gluten from forming too strongly. And some people use vodka. I don't see the reason for that. Okay, so that's what that looks like. And then we got a piece of plastic wrap. And we're going to dump this out onto... It's quite a lot, so I'm going to use 2 pieces of plastic wrap. And then I'm going to dump it out. Oh, a little water leaked. Oh. And then I think what you really want to do here is just form it. That's very nice. You don't want the heat of your hands to melt the butter. And also, this is for 2, right? So I'm gonna get my bench scraper and I'm gonna cut it in 2, and I'll need more plastic wrap. Hold on, I'll be right back. Just gonna use the scraper because it's not gonna have the hand heat. You can see the lumps of butter. That's a beautiful sight. And just bring it together like this. And what I want to do is cut it in half. Like that. And then I'm going to use 1 piece of the wrap and make a disc. All right. And you try not to touch it as well. I'm using the plastic wrap, but my hands, you don't want to use your hands as much. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see it? Okay, so there's 1 disc. It's quite a large disc. Gosh, I could make small galettes. I could make 4 from these. Anyway, so we're just gonna fold it in on itself, trying not to touch it. The heat of your hands will melt the butter. And then we're gonna fold it up, like so, and form it into a disc, because we're gonna roll it out. And that's going straight in the fridge for 15 minutes to chill down. And it will also help bring it together. Okay, so that's 1 piece. Okay, so we're gonna, this is not particularly, it's not really chilled that much. My fridge is full and it doesn't like to be full. But we're gonna use, instead of adding flour to the rolling pin and the bench, we're gonna use the paper method here, parchment, and we're gonna roll this disc. I can see the beautiful pieces of butter. We're gonna roll this disc basically to 1/2 inch thick. And we're gonna just do that. And it will come out to be, it will turn out to be the right diameter. Actually, any diameter is right, as long as you have the thickness going on here. So, from the center out, turning, from the center out, turning, from the center out, turning. But remember, as you do this, you're trying to get, you know, a final pie about this size, and the sides have to fold up. So that will help you estimate the scale. And when I'm done, you know, recipes when they say 1/4 inch, 1/8 of an inch, they're kind of lying. I think 1/2 inch is rather thick. So I'm gonna go for 1/4 inch. You know, if you actually measured, most recipes are kind of obviously fibbing. If you had a 1/4 inch, if you had an 1/8 of an inch cookie, it would burn before you got to temperature. So I've tried it many times. There's giant pieces of butter on this one, and I just gotta turn. At least it's circular. I like that. So I'll go for 1/4 of an inch here. This is going back in the fridge for about 40 minutes. Or it could be in the freezer. I'm just worried it will crack. So it'll give you enough time to make a crust, make the filling. In this case, it's tomato, and luckily I don't have to skin the tomatoes. I'm just gonna use my best beefsteak tomatoes and some gorgeous cheese. Okay, and a kind of a hard cheese, but one that will melt. Okay, and I wanted to get Asiago, but my food desert prevents me. So I have Edam, which is a nice Dutch cheese with a nice warm flavor. Okay, let's see how, you know what? That looks good. Paper wants to stick because it got warm. So where's my tray? Here it is. Okay, so that goes in. That's going in. Oh, that feels good, nice and cold. That's going in the fridge. You could do it for 45 minutes. I think that's excessive. And I have a second disc, and I'm going to do the same with the second disc. Okay, so now we have to prepare our filling. I'm using the beef steaks. I think I'll do one large and one small for variety. The egg is for the wash. The Edam cheese, I'm going to grate finely, but not on camera. What we want to do here is slice off the top. It has the sad parts on it. Okay, that knife's not very sharp. Let's get a better one. I want 1/4 inch. See, this is what they call a 1/4 inch on TV and in recipes. But in fact, that's a 1/2 inch. So I'm gonna go with the 1/2 and about 1 pound, 2 pounds of tomatoes. I've got my sliced garlic here. I just want to get nice thick slices because they will cook down. And you'll note that there's lots of juice in a beef steak. And that's why we're doing this now. We don't want to risk the juice going into the bottom of the galette, because that will make a soggy bottom. So I'm just gonna make some big slices here. Then I'm gonna do some small slices. These I can eat. And here's a little one. So I'm just gonna make sure they're nice and thick also. I just want a little variety. And they'll shrink quite a lot. So actually, I'm going to cut all the big ones. And we'll just use what can fit. You can see how, can you see how amazingly they are? So they're extremely ripe and very fragrant. Let's put that all in there. Then we're gonna throw in the garlic. And you could put more garlic. I love garlic, but I think when it cooks down, it'll be fine. And we want, you know, like something like a teaspoon of kosher salt in that. That will help with the osmosis, which is how you get the draining of the tomatoes. And you want to gently kind of stir these up. And in 20 minutes, you know what? I want more garlic. I can tell just by looking. But you're gonna mix, already the salt's dissolved in the juice. So we're gonna strain these after they've sat with the salt and garlic for 20 minutes or so. And I'll be right back. Okay, folks, so I just wanna show you the progress. I took the tomatoes and the garlic out of the bowl, and I'm just drying them off here. I forgot I poured out all the liquid. I wanted to show you how much there was after only, I don't know, 10 minutes. And I'm going to bring the pastry out now. So that took a bit longer than I expected, because I have 2, right? So I'm gonna, the really sad part is that I can feel the heat coming up, and we want to keep this cold. So I'm just gonna go as fast as I can. The oven's is at 400. So I have some nice shredded Edam, a nice Dutch cheese with a very mild but quite warm flavor. I wanted to use Asiago, but I said it's a bit sharper. This will be fine. You just put that down in the middle very quickly, leaving, you know, a border. I have about 1.5 inches, possibly 2 inches in some places. And we're gonna start layering our tomatoes in and make it look nice. You know, maybe a big one in the center. Well, maybe not. Maybe a little one in the center. I'll do big ones around the edge. They can overlap a bit. They'll shrink down, but I just don't want a soggy bottom. So I'm gonna put maybe these 2 in the middle. Maybe I'll squish this over and put this nice big one in. Okay, get rid of this. Eat those later, yum. We gotta work quickly because I can feel the heat rising. So we're gonna roll up roll this up, and we're gonna make it into the classic galette form. If it breaks, that's okay. You need to just squeeze it all back together. I'm using the same paper I used for the rolling, and it won't stick once it's cooked. It's just there's quite a lot of butter in there, and it was chilled for a long time. So here we go. We're making our galette form. Actually, a lot easier with the paper than doing it by hand. And lots of times, well, all the time, every time, you have to fold the galette form together. I'm being quick here because I can feel this heat rising under and beneath me. Well, I lost the chive, so I made more. I cut some more, and we're just gonna make a nice pattern with the chives. I had a lot chopped and obviously didn't need very many, and I had these left over. And now we're gonna do the egg wash. Pretty essential if you want something to turn golden. Hold on, I can tell that this is nice and cold. So let's just, it's a whole egg, no water, just the egg. And I'm gonna embellish it and get it into the pastry, but not on, try not to get it on the paper. I've already done that in a spot here or there. There it goes again. I guess there's not a lot you can do about that. All it does is burn a little, and then you can peel it off. Okay, so this is the beginning of, I want my chives to be in the tart. Voila. Okay. And this is kind of the first time I'm going to use my Maldon salt in a video because it's really special. And maybe, perhaps I should use it at the end. That's kind of how I would normally do it on a salad. But Maldon salt is exceptionally flavorful, flaky. Probably some of the best in the world. I know they do flaky sea salts in France, but I just want to do a little bit in case I don't have enough, in case I had already too much. Okay, 400, going in the oven for a while, half an hour, 40 minutes, turning halfway. Okay, it's been 60 minutes. I turned halfway through. I think it's looking pretty good. Looks beautiful. There's quite a bit of liquid. I'm gonna try to get this off here onto the rack, the cooling rack, as soon as possible. And you can see you don't really want, you can hear that the liquid is returning, but this is where and actually I quite don't mind the way the chives look, but this is where you would maybe add more chives for brightness and flavor. And it's so hot that these will probably wilt and contribute flavor. Serve it warm until my crust is beautiful and it's nice and sturdy and flaky. And, well, you know what I'm getting at. This would also be a time you could throw some beautiful lemon zest on. I just don't feel like wasting a lemon. It smells really good, and I think that's a great way to use tomatoes.